Once upon a time, art spoke a language everyone could understand. Not through words, not through logic, but through something deeper, something sacred, intuitive, and human. It was a language of symbols, of color and silence, of gesture and shadow. It spoke directly to the soul. When our ancestors carved into stone or painted on cave walls, they weren't just decorating their world. They were translating the invisible. The stars, the spirits, the things they couldn't explain, all found form through art. Every line was a prayer. Every stroke was a heartbeat. Art used to mean communication with the divine. Not religious art in the modern sense, but something more primal, a bridge between the physical and the eternal. The Egyptians painted gods not to please the eye, but to preserve the soul. The Greeks sculpted forms not just for beauty, but to mirror cosmic order. In the Renaissance, artists like Michelangelo and Leonardo believed that to paint or sculpt was to reach toward God, to understand creation through creation itself. Back then, art wasn't self-expression, it was revelation. But something changed. Somewhere along the centuries, the divine conversation went silent. Art began to forget what it was speaking for. The Enlightenment brought reason, and reason began to replace reverence. Suddenly, art was no longer a sacred act, but a craft, a skill, a career. The artist became a professional, not a mystic. The soul was replaced with theory, the brush with the market, and slowly the echo faded. By the time the modern world arrived, art had fractured completely. It no longer pointed upward, it pointed inward. It became about self, not soul, expression, not connection. And though that gave us incredible freedom, it also left us empty, because when everything is self-expression, nothing speaks beyond the self. Look around today. Art hangs in white galleries, sold at auctions to the highest bidder. Its value measured in money, not meaning. The sacred language has become a currency. We walk through museums like tourists in a mausoleum, surrounded by the ghosts of artists who once believed their work could touch eternity. But the truth is, the language of art never truly died. It's only buried beneath noise. Every time you stand before a painting that makes you silent, or listen to music that makes your chest ache for reasons you can't explain, that's the old language trying to speak again. The one that doesn't use words, but feeling. The language of art is not literal. It's emotional, symbolic, spiritual. It speaks through paradox, through beauty that makes you ache or sorrow that feels divine. It reminds us that what is unseen can still be felt. Leonardo once said that painting is a thing of the mind, but what he meant wasn't intellect, it was awareness, the ability to see the invisible, to translate the sacred into form, to remind the world that behind matter there is meaning. Modern art tries to capture this, sometimes in abstraction, sometimes in silence, a black canvas, a single note, a distorted face. These are all echoes of a lost conversation, attempts to reconnect to that older truth, that art's highest purpose is not to show what is seen, but to reveal what is felt. When you look at Botticelli's Birth of Venus, or a Byzantine icon, or a piece of ancient pottery, you're not just seeing an object. You're witnessing someone reaching for something larger than themselves, someone who believed that through color, shape, or motion, they could touch the infinite. And maybe that's what we've lost. Not skill, but faith. Faith that art is not decoration, not entertainment, but communication with something beyond us. Art once told us who we were, not through explanation, but through wonder. It didn't tell us what to think, it made us feel the presence of truth. And that is the voice we need to hear again. The echo that still lingers in the silence of cathedrals, in the cracks of statues, in the trembling notes of forgotten songs. Because art is not just the image. It is the soul behind the image. It's the invisible breath that animates the visible world. We think we've evolved beyond needing that. But maybe that's why we feel so lost. Because without art's sacred language, we forget how to speak to the part of ourselves that can't be measured. Art doesn't need to return to the past. It only needs to remember what it once meant, to make us feel what words can't say, to remind us that beauty isn't just seen, it's remembered. The language of art isn't gone, it's waiting. In the silence, in the shadow, in the moment you stop looking and start feeling. And when you do, you'll hear it again, faint but eternal, the echo of the soul.